So let's say we're playing a football game and the quarterback is attempting to throw the ball to a receiver. Yeah, I know my football. But as he's moving around trying to find an open receiver, he trips in a hole and his leg snaps in half. Pretty sure he can't continue playing the game. He's going to have to be taken out. Who would you put in place of the quarterback? Would you put a kicker in place of the quarterback? Would you put a replacement quarterback in place of the quarterback? Yes. So that's pretty much my knowledge of football right there in a nutshell. So this first equation, x is the original quarterback. And this x down here, which equals negative 2y plus 2, that's the backup quarterback. So original x in the first equation falls in a hole, leg snaps in half. Very violent injury, traumatic experience. So he needs to leave, and the negative 2y plus 2 is going to go in its place, in his or her place. So 3, instead of that x, in parentheses, we're going to write negative 2y plus 2, and then continue with the rest of the equation. Plus 4y equals negative 4. We are taking one x out and substituting the other x in its place. The other x is equivalent to negative 2y plus 2. So we're going to put negative 2y plus 2 in place of the x. How would you solve this from this point on? Okay, we see parentheses, so we distribute. So negative 6y plus 6 plus 4y equals negative 4. Okay, I'm going to change my ink to red because red is wrong. And what I'm going to write is wrong. So don't copy the stuff in red on your paper because it's wrong. Does everyone hear that? Do not copy this because it's wrong. I just want to show you what I have seen in the past and get your thoughts on it. Now, if you're looking at that and thinking, why in the world would you do that? Then you're not the person I'm worried about. But I have seen this on actual papers, and here's why. Whoever did this is attempting to move that negative 6y to the other side. The problem is, here's the equal sign. So this person added 6y twice on the same side of the equation. You definitely can't do that. So we're not trying to move that negative 6y. Instead, this is negative 6y and positive 4y on the same side of the equation. Those are like terms. Combine them to negative 2y plus 6 equals negative 4, and then finish solving this equation. The reason that substitution is valuable, by substituting this expression, negative 2y plus 2, in place of the x in the other equation, we are making the equation have only y's in it. If we have x and y, we can't solve the equation. If it's only y's, then we can solve it. Once we know that y is 5, we now need to go back to our original second equation and figure out what x is. So x equals negative 2 times y. We now know that y is 5 plus 2. So x equals negative 8. For your final answer, you need to write your solution as an ordered pair. Remember, you write the letters alphabetically, so x comes first, negative 8, and then the y value, 5. The solution to this system is the point negative 8, 5. So if you were to graph both of these equations, if you were to rearrange both equations so that they said y equals mx plus b, they would cross at the point negative 8, 5. Let's move to example 4 because something kind of weird happens in number 4. The first thing that I notice is we don't have an x equals or a y equals. And in order to use substitution, we really want one of the letters to be completely by itself. So this is where it is totally fine in math to be lazy, as long as you are strategically lazy. So which letter in there looks like it'd be the easiest to get by itself using the least amount of work possible? The y. The first one, the y. All we would have to do there is add 2x to both sides, and we have that y by itself. So be strategically lazy. Get one letter by itself using the least amount of work possible. We could have gotten the other y by itself, but we would have had to subtract 4x and then divide everything by negative 2, and that's just a lot of work. Now that we have y by itself, 2x plus 6 is equivalent to y. So we go to the other equation. We're going to take that y out and put 2x plus 6 in its place. So 4x minus 2 parentheses, instead of the y, we will write 2x plus 6. And then continue with equals 5. When we distribute, do you notice there's a minus in front of that 2? Attach that negative to the 2 when you distribute. So this would be negative 4x minus 12 equals 5. When we combine like terms, what happens? The 4x minus 4x, that'd be 0. So we're left with negative 12 equals 5. Question for you, does negative 12 equal 5? This is a false statement. If your variables completely eliminate and you're left with a false statement, that means that no matter what x value you put in here, it's not going to work. That means that there is no solution. So over here in the blank space, let's write, if your variables eliminate, if your variables kind of disappear, if you're left with a false statement, it means there are no solutions. That would be one of those systems where it's parallel lines and the lines never cross. There's no solution points. What do you suppose will be the result if you were left with a true statement? Many solutions. That would be they're the same line, basically. So if we had done this problem and we ended up here with negative 12 equals negative 12, yes, negative 12 does equal negative 12. That would mean many solutions.